Hello, welcome to Thought Leader Show. I'm Major Sunil Shetty, your host. Many decades ago, mainstream media was the only source through which you could get information. All that changed, captured the imagination. Today, digital is the way forward. All the mainstream media are in the digital space. And to discuss this and understand more about digital space, I have with me Rohan Chincholi, who's the Chief Digital Officer. Rohanji, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. I hope the questions and the responses both work for your audience. Very interesting space, and I hope to contribute here.
Today, when you talk about digital, anything you talk about digital grabs the attention. And thanks to the way AI has come up, that's changed a lot. Do you want to start by telling a little bit about your media house?
All right. So, from an media house or an agency perspective, I think in fact, we are a full funnel digital marketing and media agency. I believe it's important for agencies like us to have a full suite of, offering, right from traditional to design to mainline to digital to programmatic to social to content, influencers and everything, including MarTech. So we are like a 360-degree agency that caters to brand briefs, irrespective of what their problem statements are. I believe today is the day and age of solving brand-related problems. We are in a very ROI-heavy market. So that is one part of it. Second, as an agency, we are also constantly upskilling. You did mention about the role of AI, right? And that's been a buzzword. About 2 years back, metaverse used to be a buzzword. We learned metaverse back then. We are learning AI right now. I believe for us to gear up and to skill up, and upskilling is extremely important before we go to our clients and propose solutions to them. So yeah, I believe that there is a lot of human and machine intervention and interplay happening right now, which is keeping us busy.
And there has been a rise of e-commerce space as well. How's that impacting the work you do, and what are the key trends that you notice in it?
See, I think it's slated to be, I believe, close to about 350 billion by about 2030, as per some statistics by industry reports like IBEF. But one thing that has changed the dynamics for us here in India, I think two things happened parallelly. First was low cost of data that led to a rise of smartphone penetration in India. And because of smartphone penetration in India, people started getting accustomed to or accepting smartphones as their choice of medium for even making online purchases. Today, I think roughly we are about sitting at about close to 220 million plus online shoppers in India, and the space is just going to boom here on. So I think two key trend changes that have happened over the years is one, we have started becoming a little more familiar with working around smartphones, largely due to penetration, and penetration not really coming from purely urban but also the rural part of India. I'm sticking to the tier 3, 4 and 5 due to the low cost of handsets. Services like UPI and cash on delivery are enabling consumers to buy, try out different products, and rather have a lot of trust in online buying. So we definitely are a mobile first economy. I believe about close to 80% of the transactions today happen using smartphone. I think all of this coming together, and we work with a lot of brands, and we have realized, coming to point number two, quick commerce within e-commerce is going to be a big game changer. Not naming the platforms, but getting a pair of spectacles in 10 minutes, with predefined prescription numbers. I mean, what else have you even expected something like this to happen in the past? I mean, I have not. That makes me believe that India, with a very young average age of just below 35, is at the cusp of major digital transformation and a lot of interesting work to happen.
And for all of this to happen, one probably a couple of decades ago or even a decade ago, you needed brand ambassadors. You needed, big names to promote them. Today, influencer with a camera, with a mobile phone is able to, go out and sell your product, or create awareness about your product.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
video content has become the major thing, isn't it?
See, I believe, if I take my earlier point forward, low cost of data, smartphone penetration, a mobile handset in everyone's hand, rise of creator economy, I believe everyone wants to first create content. Because of consistency in creating content, there are potential for some of them to become influencers. So the story of us transitioning from ambassadors to influencers, I believe, is real. This entire, just purely the influencer marketing space is expected about close to 2,800 crores by about 2025, which just talks about the quantum and depth of the kind of influencers and creators that we have today. But I think one thing that we have been doing, I think we have been very scientific in AI in terms of selecting influencers. What generally happens is you go, any brand, if it has to select influencers today, right, will just go with some market dynamics and heuristic analysis to say which influencers do we pick. Today, there are influencers for a category. There are influencers for a tier 3, tier 4 market specifically. There are influencers over an engagement rate of 30%. There are influencers which have shown a phenomenal growth of over 200 to 250% just in the last 30 days. So using some of these parameters is extremely important in terms of selecting. And it is also said that there is a lot of trust in the smaller creators, right? Like micro influencers, 10,000 to 100,000 followers, see roughly about 3x the engagement rate as compared to any of the big names. So definitely a game changer from an influencer standpoint. And I believe that I believe close to half of the content consumption for these influencers is actually happening for tier 2 and tier 3 cities. That talks a lot about how we are changing.
And given the fact that the attention span of the audience is so short, even today, once upon a time, 15 seconds came down to 30. Now that 5 second also, we all wait for the skip button to appear. The moment it appears, we take fraction of a second and just do that, right? So how do you keep the audience engaged in that scenario?
I think uh, so. If I were to really connect this with the success of short form content, right? You're right. I mean, as a consumer, I would, because I'm consuming a content, and I want to watch a video on, let's say, YouTube, I would wait for that skip button. I would press it. But if I were to be a brand custodian and recommending it to a brand, for me, that possibility of hooking the audience in the first 3 seconds is going to be extremely critical. If I'm able to hook, or if we are able to hook the audience in the first 3 seconds, follows, a lot of engagement, and then follows virality. So I believe we are in a space where effectiveness, whether it is YouTube or Instagram, short form content needs to be personalized with the audience that they need to reach out to. If I'm a brand that is talking in the automotive space, I need to be extremely cognizant of the fact that is my short form content appealing the awareness bucket, where I'm doing more of content that reaches out to audience, whether it is consideration, am I talking about product attributes or vehicle attributes, or about conversion, am I giving them an offer? So I think if you are able to channelize this content well and able to bucket them across what my brand objective or goal is, I think there is a lot of success. And yes, attention spans are going down. I mean, for us, consuming that content is of priority, ads come second, which is where the content or creator economy, where subtly seeding in brand, creating that curiosity, creating that hook, and keeping audience connected, I think is what really helps. So content as a part of any media or marketing recommendation, I believe goes all the way up on the leaderboard in terms of first curating that and then looking at what format or placements we need to move towards.
So the other important thing when you talk about, brand is always the recall, right? Given the short span of attention people have, and as you said, the first 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you have to pay attention and hook them on, right? And I mean, this is like a personal experience, right? Once you, swapped your first reel that you watched, after about fifth one, you don't recall first four. Now, given that there is no recall left, what do you do with it? How do you even, as a, as a brand, how do you even get around with that?
The user journey is so complex today, and I'm taking your example, but I'm putting some statistics to it. You know, my choice of going or consuming, or whether choice of buying a vehicle, could start with search, could start with a short form video, and I might consume multiple touch points. I would look at a review, I would look at a comparison, I would do multiple things before I decide virtually on PC, on mobile device, on smartphones, which vehicle that I intend to purchase, which auto vehicle that I intend to purchase. If you consider only 10 touch points, a 10 factorial is close to 3.6 million unique paths to purchase. So the complexity is enormous. So what can we as brands do? The only thing that, and we are a very ROI driven, ecosystem right now, that there is an expectation of performance linked to everything. Now, don't put the entire emphasis on the last click. That means people have seen the ad, clicked, went ahead and converted. It's the entire ecosystem that has played a role, right? So taking that, and it's one of the important points why I highlight this again and again, is that irrespective of what the user journey is, all touch points have contributed. So what does it mean for us? It means I need to be keeping my storytelling at the top. Yes, people will consume different content. I mean, if you ask me, and if I ask you, which is the ad that you remember seeing today, we might take a while to recall. But if I asked you, do you remember seeing an ad in the finals, any one ad in the finals of India and New Zealand? Maybe you would recollect. So one is storytelling. Second is innovating, which is anything you do clutter breaking makes an impact. And third is, there are some marquee properties which converge audiences. So picking the right media mix becomes extremely important. While we're doing all of this, I think consistency, right? You cannot be a brand, with 1.4 billion population and close to, like I mentioned, about 220 million just online shoppers and about 800 million people connected to the internet devices. The complexity is enormous, right? So because of this, I think consistency becomes extremely important. So do your storytelling right, be consistent, keep it personalized. uh, People will remember you, and if they are in the journey of buying, they will definitely remember you. If you're getting newer people into the journey, into the awareness phase, it'll take a while, but it'll still work out.
So the digital, basically, when you talk about digital media or whatever you do on digital media, is basically
Yeah.
helping you incept the idea, plan the idea in the mind, and then thereafter practice take over. It's the
100%.
inception when you start.
Yes. Yes.
So now you give a lot of data points. All of this data, how do you work around with that?
So you know what? I think we are in a very interesting phase of digital getting into a transformation phase, right? There was this long battle or long conversation about the cookies getting diminished, right? And surprisingly, Chrome was the only browser that was supporting cookies. And it went into multiple iterations, multiple testing, and finally there was a call decided that the cookies may not get deprecated, right? During this entire phase is where all the brands and the agencies started saying data is important, and it is more important to capitalize on our own first party data, which is brands own. Let me call it gold dust. It's something that they have paid for, they have got the audience. So what do we do with all this data? Look, data requires first, let's call it, a, we have a data repository, b, it needs to reside somewhere, and then the residing data needs to convert into something addressable or tangible. So it's a journey, and the journey can be fueled by the right use of MarTech. Having the right tools that are able to take or ingest data from multiple standpoints, unify the data, and create like a unified persona or profile of people. Now, this data can be used for marketing automation. And marketing automation is not just about changing your website basis my repeat user. So imagine I am going to an auto website for the second time in a row. Does the experience change is one aspect of it. But I know that here is a list of 100,000 people who have come and have filled up a lead, have not taken action in the first 30 days. It's now been another 60 days. Can I reach out to them again? Right? So data Collection is one part of it, but where humans will play a larger role is using data to unlock marketing and media potential, driving home efficiency, and also channelizing them across different platforms to be able to drive KPIs for our brands.
So to address this, how's Media India? What kind of innovation are you bringing in?
One of the key things that we are doing is we definitely have like a dedicated division within the set. We started off by saying, I started off by saying that we are a full for service media and marketing agency who can work with data. So we have a robust MarTech team. But I will definitely want to emphasize on something that we have built, which is called as Converged. One part of Converged was that we actually tie up with a lot of third-party data providers. I'm not naming, there's a whole list of data providers that we have, but without getting into names, what is this third-party data giving me is when I work with my clients' first-party data, I cannot activate them directly unless I'm doing a remarketing. But the moment I bring in a bigger pool of, let's say, about 600 million, third-party data, which includes device IDs, cookie IDs, hashed email IDs, HEMS, this is able to connect both of them. So I bring in the client's first party data, overlay on the third party data that is provided that we have got through data partnerships, and then convert it into an addressable segment, create a match, B, create a lookalike, and C, get this activated. So this ensures that there is well balance of first party data being used to drive, which is client's first party data used to drive efficiency for that same client itself, and in a very data safe, data clean rooms, following, definitely all the data policies, a lot of inspiration from, GDPR. But now we are going to very soon have our own Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So that work is in progress.
Interesting. Tell us about your collaboration with TiE Mumbai for the event.
For me, I believe I've attended many events across the last 2 years. It's a long-standing partnership with TiE. I think it is rooted with a common vision of fostering entrepreneurship. We are looking at driving meaningful, industry conversations, and I think over the years we have collaborated with them across multiple initiatives. It could be to discuss with business leaders. It was thought leadership sessions, and it was for the entire thing. It was for startup, it was for investors, it was for entrepreneurs, for everyone. But we believe that we are in a juncture where we can assist the entire ecosystem purely from a media and a marketing standpoint. Why is it important, right? For example, for the startups, we can be a consultant. If we are looking at established brands, we can drive, scale. And I'm using the theme of this entire thing, Dhanda first, right? Driving performance that works. For the ecosystem, we are the knowledge partners. We are an extension for anyone who needs the help in terms of media and marketing. And lastly, I believe we are here to make meaningful brands. That is one core philosophy that we have been following for over a decade. Partner at TiECon, Mumbai 2025. We look forward to actually strengthening our partnership with this and our commitment to contributing to this ecosystem so that it's meaningful in all ways possible.
And any closing remarks about your organization and the work you do?
Personally, I take immense pride in the clientele that we have, the work that we are doing, and with a lot of support from our global teams in terms of ensuring best practices and staying ahead of the curve is something that I truly take inspiration from, and I believe that is one thing that keeps me going. We are working hard. We are working hard to make a difference. And we are very sure that the ecosystem can keep getting complex, but we will always be ahead of the curve for our clients, and we'll always keep Dhanda first for our clients as our primary objective.
So viewers, that's Rohan Chincholi, who's the Chief Digital Officer with Havas Media India. One thing that you need to take away from this talk with Rohan is Digital marketing is not about posting few posters, videos on social media. There is a science, there is AI, there is a thought process that goes through. So if that is what you are looking for to take your brand to the next level, you know where to go. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you for being on the show.
Vijay, thank you very much. Have a good day. Thanks.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to my Startup TV.